Let's do some practice from 2.5 where we apply how to use these Venn diagrams and we pay close attention to the wording given. Now, I did not give you a setup for the Venn diagram, so you're expected to sketch your box to represent your universal set and to pay attention to how many loops you need. For numbers 1 and 2, you just need 1, 2, and 3, you just need 2 loop Venn diagrams. 2 loop Venn diagrams only have 4 regions. Now, I'm not going to label those loops A and B because I want them to represent something that is being used in the problem. I need to read the problem first. But I am going to go ahead and set up the structure for number 2 so I don't have to come back and do it when I get to the second problem. Okay, so for the first problem, we are at Dunkin Donuts. 100 of the customers at Dunkin Donuts were surveyed, so their U has 100 total people in it, the universal set. 66 people said they purchased coffee, 41 people purchased donuts, 22 people purchased both. So we need a coffee loop, a donut loop, and then of course we've got that region where they share space. A total of 65 people purchased coffee. A total of 41 people purchased donuts. I'm still missing some information in my Venn diagram. I'm missing the numbers in each individual region. So all 4 of those regions, I need numbers for those. I get my first hint by starting on the inside. 22 purchased both coffee and donuts. So 22 people go in that second region that represents the intersection. Well, if 22 people bought both, how many people bought just coffee? A total of 65 bought coffee. 65 minus this 22 that's already on my diagram leaves me with 43 people who bought just coffee. 41 total people bought donuts. 22 of them are already here because they bought coffee too. 41 minus 22 leaves me with 19 people who bought just donuts, not coffee. Well, how many people came into Dunkin Donuts for something else? I don't really know what something else is at Dunkin Donuts, but apparently there are something else's. Well, I need to add up these 3 values and subtract that sum from the 100 people total surveyed. When I add up these 3 regions, and I subtract from 100, I see there were 16 people out here in the universal set that came into Dunkin Donuts, did not buy coffee or donuts. Now that I've finished filling in all the blanks for my Venn diagram, I move on to the questions. How many people purchased only coffee? Well, only coffee is this region with 43 people. How many purchased only donuts? That's this region, 3, with 19 people represented. And how many people didn't purchase either of those 2 things? Well, that's the 16 out here in my universal set. Let's do the next one together as well. During the fall festival at this farmer's market, 200 customers made the following purchases. So we've got U is a total of 200 customers. They purchased pumpkins, they purchased pies. Oh dear, they're both peas. So let's go ahead and write out pumpkins and pies. We know that 109 purchased pumpkins and a total of 98 purchased pies. So now I need to fill in the values for the blanks in my regions of my Venn diagram. I've got 4 regions and I need a value for each of those 4 regions. I always start in the middle. 61 purchased both. So there's 61 out of that 98 that bought pies. They also bought pumpkins. How many bought just pies? Well, 98 minus 61 gives me 37. How many bought just pumpkins? The total that bought pumpkins, 109, minus that 61 that also bought pies, tells me that 48 just bought pumpkins. How many went but didn't buy anything? Or at least didn't buy either of those 2 things. I'm going to add up these 3 regions, subtract it from the total number of customers, and that tells me that 54 went just to enjoy the farmer's market. Now that I've completely filled in my Venn diagram, I move to the questions. How many purchased only pumpkins? Well, the only pumpkin region is out here. How many purchased only pies? Just pies is this region over here. How many didn't purchase either one of those two things? Well, that's this number out here in the universal set outside of the loops. All right, for number 3, I want to challenge you to pause the video, complete number 3, and then come back. Okay, hopefully this is what your number 3 looks like. We have a total of 77 houses on the market, so that's the number in my universal set. When I add up the numbers in each of the 4 regions, that sum should be 77. The sum of these two numbers is not the same as the number in the universal set because of that intersection and because of these that are left out. My 47 houses that had basements, 35 of them also had a garage, so this number is 12 that had just a basement, not a garage. The total number of houses with a garage, 35 of those also had a basement, so 17 houses had just the garage but not a finished basement. Now, question C is not the same question as the question C on the last page. Make sure you're reading closely. Either or. Instead of an intersection or instead of this number out here in the universal set, we're looking for the union. The union is the sum inside the loops. All right, when we move to number 4, for the remaining problems, we have 3 loop Venn diagrams that we need to draw. So I'm going to make my box a little bigger to represent a larger universal set so that I have room to do all 3 loops. For this first Venn diagram that I'm drawing, I see that I'm talking about resorts that have a spa, a fitness center, and a children's club. Those are my 3 loops: spa, fitness center, children's club. If you go left to right and then down, we'll all have them in the same order. Now remember, I want to start with what I'm given, but I start from the inside and work my way out. I'm given my totals. They don't help me at the beginning, but we'll go ahead and fill them in. 27 had a spa, 56 had a fitness center, and 38 had a children's club. But now that I'm doing the real work, I want to start all the way in the middle. 7 have all 3 features. That's my intersection of all 3 loops, region 5. There are 7 that go there. 19 had a fitness center and a children's club. So 19 share these 2 regions, fitness center and children's club. 7 are already down. 19 minus that 7 that's already represented leave me with 12 that have just a fitness center and children's club but not a spa. 10 have a spa and a children's club. Spa and children's club are these 2 loops. I need a total of 10. There's already 7 here, so 3 go there. 13 have a spa and a fitness center. Spa, fitness center. 7 are already here in this region, so the remaining 6 to make up that 13 go here. Then I need to fill in the only regions, only spa, only fitness center, only children's club. That's where these totals come into play. I say, all right, I have a total of 27 that have a spa. Look at my loop here. I've got 3 plus 7 is 10, plus 6 is 16. So 16 are already represented. I need a total of 27. 27 minus the 16 gives me 11 that have just a spa. Then I look at my fitness center loop. I've already got 12 plus 7 is 19, plus 6 is 25. I need a total of 56. Oh, I added that wrong, didn't I? 12 and 7 is 19. Oh, I wrote it down wrong. This should have been 55, not 56. I apologize to those of you who were bothered by that. There's my 55, my correct number. Nothing else is messed up yet. I was checking it against my key and I caught it. So I already have 12 plus 7 is 19 plus 6 is 25 represented. I need a total of 55, which leaves me with 30 that have just a fitness center. All right, now we're interested in my children's club loop. I need a total of 38. I already have 3 plus 7 is 10 plus 12 is 22. 22 out of that 38 are already on the diagram. 38 minus 22 is 16 out here. Don't forget that we still need to know how many are in the universal set that didn't have any of these 3 amenities. We have a total of 92 resorts, I can't just add these numbers. I need to add regions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I need to add up those numbers inside the loops, subtract that total from the number in my universal set to figure out how many resorts didn't have any of those 3 amenities. Now that I've done all that, I can go back and answer my questions, my 5 questions that I'm asked. How many resorts had only a spa? Well, only a spa is this region, and there were 11. How many had exactly one? Just a spa, just a fitness center, or just a children's club? I'm going to add those 3 regions up to get a total of 57 resorts. At least one is not the same as exactly one. At least one means 1 or 2 or 3. So I'm going to add up all of these regions inside a loop. That comes to a sum of 85. Exactly 2 are these regions that are shared by just 2 loops. These petals right here, 6 plus 3 plus 12. This 6 resorts have a spa and a fitness center. This 3 resorts represented have a spa and a children's club, and these 12 resorts have a children's club and a fitness center. Those are all exactly 2 features for a total of 21 resorts. How many had none of those features? Well, that's the 7 resorts that are out here in the universal set, not inside a loop. Okay, for the next page, you have 2 more 3-loop Venn diagrams that you're responsible for. I want you to pause your video, draw the Venn diagrams, and fill them in, and then come back and we'll talk about the questions. For number 5, we're told 85 customers were surveyed, so that's the total in my universal set. 44 purchase mysteries total, 33 total purchase science fiction, and a total of 29 customers purchased romance novels. That doesn't get us anywhere until we start filling in these regions. You always start in the very middle. So we want to start with 2 people purchased all 3 types. 11 total purchased mysteries and romance, so those 2 regions need to add to 11. There's already 2 here, that leaves 9 for there, so I'm subtracting. A total of 5 purchased science fiction and romance, so I already had my 2. 5 minus 2 leaves me with 3. Total of 13, so 13 minus 2 leaves me with 11. And then I get to these outer numbers and I say, okay, well, if a total of 29 purchased a romance novel and I already have 9, 2, and 3, I add those 3 regions, subtract it from my total, and get that 15. When I add up these 7 regions, once I have all 7 filled in, and subtract that from my total of 85, I have 6 people who purchased something else. Maybe they purchased cookbooks, or maybe they just wandered around. We don't know. All right, let's answer our questions. How many people purchased only mysteries? Well, only mysteries is this region, so that's 22. How many people purchased mysteries and science fiction, not romance? So mystery and science fiction, not romance, is just that 11 people. Mysteries or science fiction. So or means it can be one, the other, or both. I'm looking at the sum of those 6 regions, all the regions in the mystery and the sci-fi loop. That gives me a total of 64 people. Mysteries or science fiction, but not romance. So I'm going to start with those 64 people, and then I'm going to subtract these that are in the romance loop. So I subtract out those. I'm just left with the 3 regions showing there for a total of 50. Finally, exactly 2 types. That's those petals, those intersection petals where I have 11, 9, and 3. I sum those values. Those are my exactly 2 regions for a total of 23. Number 6, about Panera, their employees. It talked about 30 employees and what their jobs were: cooking food, washing dishes, or operating the cash register. We follow the same principle for filling in our Venn diagrams. And then we need to answer our questions. How many of the employees only cooked food? Well, 3 of them only cooked food and didn't do anything else. How many only operated the cash register? Well, that was 12 employees that worked at the cash register but didn't cook food or do dishes. How many washed dishes and operated the cash register but did not cook food? So dishes and cash register but didn't cook food is just this 3. How many washed dishes or operated the cash register? So dishes or cash register, I'm looking at both those loops, but did not cook food. So then I take out the food loops and I've just got these 3 regions left. And finally, how many did at least 2 of these jobs? At least 2 means 2 or 3. That's all of the intersection regions, the 4 intersection regions. So that's a total of 8 employees. Okay, we have one final question on the back, number 7. When the Montesano family members discussed where their annual reunion could take place, obviously pre-pandemic times, they found that of all the family members, you have some people who don't want to do stuff. So when we set up our Venn diagram, we're going to set it up that way. You can set it up the opposite way. It's a little bit more confusing. If we set it up as not park, not beach, not cottage, that makes life a little simpler. So we've got 3 loops. We've got not park. We've got people who don't want to go to the beach. And we've got people who don't want to go to the family cottage. Now, hopefully, once you get it set up that way, it's a pretty simple Venn diagram to fill in. We're going to start with this inner that we've got one person who will go everywhere. You know what? That one person will go everywhere. That person goes out here. They don't have any problems going to those places. We have 2 people who would not go to any of those 3 named destinations. So there's my 2 that goes right there. 6 people won't go or would go to a park, to neither a park or this is the wording. This is why this one's a little trickier. 6 people would go neither a park nor the cottage. So they didn't want to go to the park and they didn't want to go to the cottage. Wouldn't go to the park, wouldn't go to the cottage. That's a total of 6. Well, 2 are here, so there's the other 4 to make 6. 4 would go to neither a beach nor the cottage. Not the beach, not the cottage, total of 4. There's 2, the other 2 make 4. 3 would go to neither a park nor a beach. Not the park, not the beach, total of 3. There's already 2, so that's 1. 11 would not go to the cottage. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 7 would not go to the beach. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 would not go to the park. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we know that one person is happy to go anywhere. So what's the total number of family members? Well, we add up the sum, or find the sum for these 8 regions, and we find out there are just 16 people they're trying to plan for. All right, guys, I hope that helped.